Good afternoon, friends. It is Miss Hannah, and today I'm going to be reading you a story. Today, I'm going to be reading a story called Smudge's Grumpy Day. The author is Miriam Moss. Does anyone know what an author is? We always talk about this every time we read a story. Can you remember? Very good. An author is a person who writes all of these words in our story. And now our illustrator for today is Lynn Chapman. Does anybody know what an illustrator does? We also talk about what an illustrator does too. I heard some of you. An illustrator draws all of these cool pictures that we see in our stories. All right, now let's get started. Smudge jumped out of bed. "Ow," she said, stubbing her toe on the chair. "Oh no," she cried as she opened the curtains. It was pouring rain. Now she would be stuck inside all day. Friends, when it is raining outside, what do you boys and girls like to do? I know when it's raining outside and I can't go outside, I like to spend time with my family. I watch some movies with my mom and dad. Maybe you watch some movies with your mom and dad and grandma or grandpa or whoever you're with. I also like to play some board games because I think board games are pretty fun. Smudge got dressed in a fed-up sort of way. Then she looked in the mirror. Every single button was done up wrongly. "Oh, bother, bother, bother," she shouted angrily. So friends, why is she shouting very angrily in the mirror? We just read it. That's right, she is shouting very angrily in the mirror because all of her buttons are done up wrongly. "Good morning," smiled Stripe. "Bad morning," said Smudge. "What's the matter?" asked Stripe. "Everything," replied Smudge grumpily. "Have some breakfast," said Stripe. "I don't want any," Smudge said. Doesn't seem like Smudge is being very nice right now. Stripe sliced some bread. "What shall we do today?" he asked. "Not answer any more questions," said Smudge rudely. "What is the matter?" said Stripe. "Can I help?" "No, you can't," Smudge said, looking angry. Friends, if somebody is offering to help you when you're upset or angry, you always want to let them help because maybe they can figure out what is wrong, or maybe you can just let your emotions out and talk to them, all right? And of course, you don't have to talk to them about what is wrong, but they just want to be there, so you never want to be rude to someone who is just trying to help you. "If you're going to be rude," said Stripe calmly, "perhaps you'd better go and do it somewhere else." "I will go somewhere else," said Smudge, stomping out of the room, "and I won't come back ever." Slam went the back door as Smudge left home. She marched across the lawn, down the path toward the river. The rain trickled under her collar and down her neck. Smudge stood by the river for a long time, watching the water flow by and feeling miserable. Suddenly, Goose paddled up. "Hello, Goose," said Smudge. "I'm glad to see you." "Are you?" said Goose. "Why?" "Because I've just left home," announced Smudge. "Goodness," said Goose. "Forever?" "Forever," said Smudge. Smudge wiped the rain from her eyes. "Well, why don't we go and play in your treehouse?" Goose suggested. Smudge smiled. "Okay," she said. So now it looks like they're gonna go play in Smudge's treehouse. What do you think will happen? Do you think maybe Smudge will have fun? Or do you think Smudge is going to be rude to Goose as well? Well, those are all really good guesses. I guess we're about to find out. So let's make sure we're using our listening ears and our looking eyes, all right? Soon, Smudge forgot about being grumpy and miserable as she was having such a fine time with Goose. So if you guessed that Smudge would have fun, then you were correct. But those were also some other good guesses. Hare and Mole rode around the bend in the river. "Ahoy there!" shouted Hare. "Come and play pirates with us." Smudge and Goose climbed aboard. "Smudge has left home," said Goose. "Oh dear," Mole gasped, looking worried. "Forever?" asked Hare. "I think so," said Smudge. So now it looks like Smudge has some other friends to play with too. They had a great time playing pirates, and somehow Goose always ended up walking the plank. Then it began to get dark. "Smudge, why don't you go home, just for tonight," suggested Mole as they rode home. "I don't think I can. I told Stripe I wouldn't ever come back," explained Smudge. "Then you'll have to stay the night in your tree house," said Hare. "I bet you're brave enough." Smudge looked very unsure. Up in the treehouse, Smudge watched the dark swallow her friends up as they walked away home. Suddenly, something below went crack. Friends, what do you think went crack? Well, let's keep paying attention and we might find out what that noise was. Smudge froze. Something was coming to get her. She shut her eyes. "Hello," said Stripe. "I brought you your supper." He poured them some delicious hot soup and they sat sipping it together. Smudge soon felt a warm glow growing inside her. "I was a bit grumpy this morning, wasn't I?" Smudge said. "Yes, but everyone is sometimes," Stripe said gently. "I didn't run far away," continued Smudge, "because I missed you." "I missed you too," smiled Stripe. When they finished their supper, Stripe and Smudge went happily home together. So it looks like Smudge apologized for being rude and grumpy. And they're eating some soup together. And that is the end of our story. All right, friends. Now, do any of you remember towards the beginning of the story, why Smudge was all grumpy? What was the reason Smudge was so grumpy at the beginning of the story? Well, Smudge was so grumpy at the beginning of the story because if you remember, it was raining outside and she had to stay inside and she couldn't go outside to play. And since Smudge was angry, what did she end up doing? What did Smudge end up doing because she was very angry? Very good. She ended up being rude to her friend, and then she ended up running away from home, which we never want to run away. No matter how angry we are, we never want to run away from home. And then towards the end of our story, what happened? Can you remember what happened towards the very end of our story? That's right. Smudge hung out with her friends and she started to have a much better day because she had people there for her. And then eventually, Stripe came up to the treehouse where she was and Smudge ended up apologizing for being rude. All right, friends, that is all for our story today. I will see you next time. Bye.